Today we're going to continue our class on the thermal vocabulary, and as we're moving forward with the text, some of the more important terms will be discussed related to dharma that we're doing. Some of the terms which are more uh, which are used daily, will not be discussed extensively in the course. The main objective is to clarify the meaning of some of the more uh, important terms that are quite often in many of the texts. So, therefore, only those will be discussed extensively in this class. And like I said, the homework, which is mostly making sentences or trying to understand the term even more, to make the term even more familiar to oneself by checking the text in which you can find these terms, could be a way to both familiarize and, in a way, also becoming an assignment to every one of you. So, therefore, if you're willing to do that, you can make sentences, and if you want me to check them, you can send them to me, and then whenever I get the time, I will respond accordingly. Sometimes it may be one day, sometimes it may take a week or more, but eventually I'll make sure that I give you feedback. Okay, so today we're going to continue, and before we uh, yes, so I will provide the same in doc format, so document Microsoft Word format after the class. Mm, so I will provide those after the class. Similarly, every file regarding the course will be provided in the channel, which you can review, and then you can ask questions regarding these. So, okay, so Thursday to everyone, and welcome to Thermal Vocabulary class. And our focus of this course is a particular text, that is the Heart Sutra, and we're trying to understand understand certain word in that particular text. So before we go to the text, each class I will be writing a verse of praise to either Buddha or to the text itself, that is the Pragya Paramita, in order to symbolize auspiciousness and to dispel any obstruction that may come during this course, to so that people who are attending and me teaching this would not face any obstruction regarding any circumstances that may uh, result in discontinuation of this particular course. So therefore, let me read this in Tibetan. I have the same translated in English. And another thing that you are noticing is that in the grammar class or in the vocabulary class, the collection of these are being made by some of the students. So thank you to those, and you can find the collection with the translation. Some might not have translation, which I will do once we're done with this course. Okay, so the verse of taking refuge, as well as the verse of paying homage to Buddha. Shage gilse mi senge gyur longwe tsoda dewe chongdu dren korwe tsole parur deben cho tuba chomden de la cha tsole. So before I translate this in English, before I read the translation, there's something very interesting that I have done in here. So those of you who are interested in poetry, And if you have certain type of experience with Tibetan poetry, I've done something which is somewhat quite a wonderful practice that is being done by a few of the poets, Tibetan poets. So this particular word, drin, which means to welcome someone or to host someone. Here you will see that the spelling is not actually correct, but that doesn't mean that this particular line is not correct. No, it's because what I have done is that I have utilized a very to say a very interesting technique. What I have done is that uh, the word lamp, that is dreme, and the word de, they have similar sound. So what I have done is that by writing this, I have written the spelling of the lamp, which dispels the darkness, but I'm reading it as de. So the word de, which has the sound de, what I have done is that I've utilized the sound and the word in separate way. What I have done is that I have used the spelling to give the meaning of lamp, but I've used the sound to give the meaning of to welcome or to host. So a very interesting practice that is in poetry writing in Tibetan discipline, which I'll try to find some of examples by some of the poets and then provide those in the group. But this is a very interesting technique, poetic technique, where you use the sound as a different meaning and you use the word as a different meaning because there are homonyms, words that sound exactly the same. So the trick is that you use the sound to give a different meaning and then you use the word to give a different meaning. So here, this word is doing that exactly. So, 农位错的，地位重的准。So, the English translation, the prince of Sakya clan becomes the lion of men. So, human beings, so lion out of all the human in the human realm, which refers to the Buddha because of the characteristic of being fearless. So, therefore, becomes the Buddha. So, here you see welcoming and guiding the blind to the welcoming and guiding in a way that it dispels all the darkness of ignorance. So you see that here I have used, instead of using the lamp, what I have done is that I've used its characteristic of dispelling ignorance, dispelling darkness, and thus using the characteristic to represent the word itself. So this word here, dun, this one word has two meaning in translation. One, welcoming or hosting, other, guiding, as being a lamp that dispels the darkness. So welcoming and guiding the blinded, so those who are blind by self-grasping ignorance, to the blissful land, so the land of the blissful. The captain of the ship sailing beyond the ocean of samsara, I prostrate to you, O victorious one. So this is taking refuge in Buddha. Okay, so now we begin with the actual text. So the first line is so this is actually something that is written in all of the sutras, because the thing is that it is the arhants, the arhats, or the bodhisattvas, bodhisattva, the bodhisattva who have attended those discourse and later written those on either the leaves or the skin of the tree, so as to maintain this for the future generation. So therefore, whenever we see that, we see this practice where it starts, all of the sutra starts with meaning this is what I have heard, thus I have heard once. Okay, so So here we see that there are some interesting words here. The first one is decay. So decay is interesting. Why? Because the word K here, the word K here is very interesting. Because you see that the word K here is a companion word. So in Tibetan writing system, we have very interesting system in which we classify the combination of letters as name, word, and then the name are all free morphemes in a way that they are words that are capable of providing meaning by themselves without being associated with any other combination of letter. Then we have word, and not only that, names are the name which represents the name of phenomena. So it does nothing else but represent the name of a phenomena. So all of the name of something, be it something that is tangible, something that is animate, something that is inanimate, and something that is a process, we understand that in cases of these, we see that all of those things come under the group name. Now then, we have the second type of combination of letter, which is called the word. So word represents every other type of grammatical structure that makes that gives a meaning. So it could be a verb, it could be an adjective, or any other form of word. And so word are classified in two types. One which are words that are capable of providing meaning by themselves. For example, the verb. The verb are capable of providing meaning by themselves or itself. Similarly, adjectives are capable of providing meaning by itself. But now we have those the second type of word, which is known as the companion words. So these are words that are incapable of providing meaning by themselves. Similarly, in this case, we have the word K. But then it's not that simple. So we see that the word K belongs to the category of companion word in this particular context. So not in every context, but in this particular context, the word K is a companion word. So though the word K itself is understood as sound or voice in some cases, so the word K, sakatakata K, in some context, for example, if we have the word, so let me just take, I think this is good. So, for example, we have the word K. Let me see here. Mike. Mike means human voice or human language. In this particular case, or Keshu, which means the strength of the voice. So in these contexts, we understand that the word K is not a companion word, but rather it's a noun by itself. It's a name that represents the word voice or a sound. So definitely there are cases in which it is a name and thus a word that can provide a meaning by itself. But in this particular context, which is of the K, it is no longer the voice. We're no longer talking about the voice. But what we're doing is that we're understanding it as a companion word, a word companion, meaning that it has to be associated with another word to give out the full meaning. That it cannot provide a meaning by itself. So it needs to be associated with a word. In this case, the word is di. So it becomes dike. So instead of being uh, a instead of being a word that is by itself, it actually becomes a word which is a companion word. So in this case, it means dike, which means thus or this is what was said. So this is what was said or thus. And there are quite few variations of this. We have just so we have dike, chike. So dike or chike. So these are both two different words. One, it has the same companion word, but the difference is this particular part. This di, which means this, chi, which means in this manner. So chi means in this manner. So the difference between di itself means di means this. So di means this, and chi means in this manner, or yes, in this manner. So or like this. So we see that there are two variations of the word which are made by the association of k with chi and k with di. When it's with di, it becomes thus. So it becomes thus. When it's with chi, it becomes this was said, or it was said in this manner, or in the manner he said it, or they said it, in a manner that they said it. So all of this is correct for the meaning chi. But one must understand that chi is when associated with k, it only talks about the manner that it was said, in the manner that it was said. So only in this context we understand it. Whereas chi could have many variations. We have chini, chisi, which are completely different words, which have a different meaning. Like I said before, chini, chitar, chisi. So if most of you might be already familiar with both the Samanthabhadra prayer, the King of Prayers, as well as the Bodhisattva Avatara, Charya Avatara. So this is the one which is used in the Kings of Prayer, where we have the line that is Chini Sutta Chojijigdena. So in that particular line, we have this word, whereas this is from this comes in the 10th chapter of the Chunju Chemo, which is the Bodhisattva Acharya Avatara, in which the 10th chapter, the chapter of dedication, where you have this single prayer line, single verse of line, which says Chisi Namkhan Nepatan, Draw Chisi Nekupa, Tesi Dain Nekun, Draw Dunge Seosho. As long as the space remains and remains a sentient being, may I to remain and dispel the suffering of all. So in that particular verse, you see the usage of this. It's in the 10th chapter of the of the Shantideva's Bodhisattvacharya Avatara, Chenju Chemo. And this is in the the very first line of Samantabhadra's prayer, the King of Prayers, Sangjamela, the Samantabhadra's prayer, the King of Prayers. This is the very the first line is the dedication to Manjushri, and then comes the first line, which is Chini Sudha Chojigdena. So here you see the usage of this particular word. So chi itself is also a word companion. So when these two word companion, in this case, we see that the word companion is di and ke. Di. Does so the question comes, does each of them have a usage by themselves? Yes, di by itself means this. It's a particle. It means this. It's a pronoun. So this, or demonstrative. So it's a demonstrative, which means this. And ke means voice when it's used by itself. But when it comes together in this context, they no longer are independent. They are companion word, meaning they no longer have that independent meaning that they have. So they have a meaning only when they're associated with each other. So that is this dike, which means thus or this is what was said. So dike, which is evam ka, so and thus. And then the second word is ta. Ta, which refers to self or I, which is the Atma. In Sanskrit, it is Atma. Ta ki. So you see this particular particle here. It is the particle of the third grammatical case, ki, which shows that an action was done by a subject. So it's the subject case. So here we see that the particular statement, dagi turba. Turba is the action. And the one who heard it, the one who did the action of hearing it, was I. And then we have this particle ki. So though this is in here, we see that it is translated as have. I have heard. So so I have heard. So this becomes the perfect tense. So an action was done. So action of hearing was done by I. So this is translated as have here. Not always will be translated in that manner, but in this very particular case, it is done. And turba, which is to have heard. So dagi turba means I have heard. So since I've already said that this was something that is with all of the discourse by Buddha written in words, those sutra, which are written by arahats and the bodhisattvas. So they write it in the manner that they say that, thus I have heard this once. And this is a common occurrence in in all of those sutra. It starts with, thus I have heard this once, or thus I have heard once. So thus I have heard this once. So thus I have heard this. So we see that this is a common occurrence in many of the sutras that you would see. And then to hear is shruti, which means to have heard. Now we have the third term, the fourth term, which is tu. So tu, which is in Sanskrit known as kala, or kal, or kala, or kal. So so the word kal or kala can mean both time as well as black. So the word can either mean time, or it could mean black. In the context of Kala Chakra, the Kal Chakra or Kala Chakra, the word Kal means it gives the meaning of time. Whereas in the context of the term Mahakala, which is translated as the Great Black One, we see that the word Kala means black because of the physical feature of the deity. It is called the Great Black, the Mahakala. So you see that in both of these contexts, the sound are similar, but in one context it is understood as Kal Chakra or Kala Chakra, which means which is in this context means the time, the wheel of time, the Kal Chakra. Whereas in the second context, we see that the word is Mahakala. Maha being great, Kala being black, so the Great Black One, which refers to one of the deity, one of the sacred deity. So Kal or Kala, and similarly, the the wrathful form of so in Hinduism, the wrathful form of the Shiva or the Adiyogi is also called the Mahakala. So you see the usage of this, and similarly we have the term we have the term Kal or Kala, which means different era, or Yug, which means different era. So if we use the word Kala as black, then this has both the masculine and the feminine word. The masculine being Kala, the feminine being Kali. So we have the Mahakala and we have the Mahakali. So the masculine and the feminine. Okay, then we have to Chik. Chik means, so therefore we must also understand that it means time, and in some context it means occasion. So here we have used the word once, which refers to occasion. So once, so at a single occasion, I have heard this. And then Chik, which means Eka, or Eka or Eka, which means one. Okay, so this first line in which we see that the second turning of wheel of dharma is being stated, where it starts with the narration that says that thus I have heard this once, that 좀된데 개벽합 자교 풍부리라 개롱기 겐두 첨보다 전주 선배 겐두 첨보다 텁지도 쇼때. So we have already discussed the word 좀된데, which means Bhagwat, the masculine word for the term Bhagwati, where in the name it is called Bhagwati Pragya Paramita Shritaya Sutram, where the Bhagwati refers to the feminine incarnate of wisdom, which is the Mother Pragya Paramita. Here we are referring to the masculine, which is the Bhagwata, the Buddha. So Bhagwata or Buddha or the victorious one, we discussed that when we talk about victorious, we're talking about victory over the four maras and accumulation of 6 perfect qualities. So Chomdente. So I think we already went with each of the term. Also, Chom means to subdue. Den means to possess the state of being subduer, the victorious one, and De means already passing that stage where one is recognized as the conqueror or the victorious one. So Chomden De, Bhagavad. In here, when we talk about Bhagavad, we are referring to the Buddha Shakyamuni. So from then there, so now we come up with the second term, which is Gyalpo Cup. Gyalpo means king. So Raja, king, and Cup means Graha, which means the palace of the king, Rajgraha, Rajagraha or Rajgraha. So the term Gyalpo, which means king, Raja, and Cup, which means Graha or palace. So there will be so the translation here is more towards the palace. So during that time, we know that the king who was residing at the Rajgraha was the king Bimbasar. So we call it palace. So the word cup does not directly translate to the word palace. So this is more inferential here. It actually means the fortress. So the word cup means the fortress. So we have Yumbulakar. Yumbulakar is the first fortress in Tibet, which was made for the first king. So let me write it here. So the word cup and cut, similar, very similar, which means the fortress, more like fortress than the palace, but it's more inferential in this case, where it means the fortress. So Yumbulakar also refers to the first fortress in Tibet, which is in the region of Yarlung, the first capital of Tibet. Later, it was shifted from Yarlung to Lhasa. Okay, so Raja, Gyalpo, which means Raja, Graha, which means cup, the palace. So give a cup, the palace, the king's palace, Rajgraha. And then the second term is Chagyo Pungbe Ri. Chagyo, which means Grida or Gidda. So in Hindi, it's Gid, which means the vulture. So Gid or Grida, Kuta, which means Pungbo, and Parvata, which means Ri. So the term Grida, which means the vulture, Kuta means the body or the pile or the body. So the peak of the mountain looks like a vulture, so therefore called the vulture's peak. So Grida Kuta. And Parvata means the hill or the peak or the mountain. So Girta Kuta Parvata. So that is the meaning of the word Chagyo Pungpo. Chagyo, Girta, Pungpo, Kuta, and Ri, Parvata. So Girta Kuta Parvata, Chagyo Pungpo, vulture's peak. So, and then we have some more important term here. The first one is Gelong, which is a word that you will see quite frequent in the text. Gelong refers to Pikshu. Pikshu comes from the word peak, which means like someone that takes offering, someone that survives or sustained through virtuous offering. So the term means one which sustain on virtuous offering. So this is something that's entirely up to you. So this is just a recommendation from me. So there is a particular talk which is on the understanding of the word Bhikshu. It is actually given by one of a scholar. So he's called Acharya Prashant. So you can check him on YouTube. So there's a particular talk of him regarding the word Bhikshu and regarding the word Yajna. Yajna, which is the ritual that we do in order to offer the fire offering that we do, right? Uh, we do the fire offering where we offer the deity after a retreat. What we do is that we offer different offerings to the deity, and this offering is done by putting these different offering in the fire. So it's called yajna. So a very wonderful explanation is done there. Especially, uh, the requirement would be that you understand Hindi to a uh, very good level. Then the talk is quite comprehensive and very good talk about the meaning of the word bhikshu. So it's entirely up to you to check that. So bhikshu means the one that's sustained by accepting the offering, the virtuous offering made by others. So bhikshu are the people who are on the quest in search of the truth, liberation, and they sustain by the offering made by others. So bhikshu, a fully ordained monk. So bhikshu also refers to a fully ordained monk. Gelong. And then we have the word Changchup Sempa. Changchup Sempa. So the word Changchup can be understood with each of the word. Chang means to purify all the impurities of the body, speech, and mind. Chup means to be to attain all the wonderful qualities of the Buddha within them. So Changchup. So one who is on the quest to purify all their negative. So Chang means to wash away, in a way, to wash away, to purify the negative, the impurities of their body, speech, and mind. As a as a as a beginner practitioner, or as a non-practitioner, and then to attain the qualities and wisdom of Buddha. Chup, Chang Chup. So meaning of the word Sempa, Topa Pa. Very interesting one here. Pa. What does Pa means? Pa means mitre, a hero. Why do we use that particular word here, the hero or a mitre? Because this particular state of being liberated from the ordinary mundane state, and to attain the super mundane, to attain the higher transcendent, like we talked about the pragya paramita, where we talk about paramita, which means transcendental. So to attain the transcendental wisdom, not only for self, but for the entire sentient beings, to be the hero of all the sentient beings. Therefore, the word pa is used here. Very interesting word. Pa means hero. So hero who strives to attain such wisdom, not only for themselves, but for all the sentient beings who are suffering. So Sempa, the mitre, the hero. And in Buddhism, we also have the idea of the category of three individuals. The one with the mindset of only the one with the mindset of only acquiring the higher rebirth. The second one who strives for liberation for only self. And then finally, the ones who strive for liberation for not only self, but for the entire sentient beings. So the common path, the three common path, also wonderfully elaborated in the text by Lama Tsongkhapa of the three principal path. So if you would like, you can also check that, in which he talks about the three principal path and the three sort of phenomena or the three sort of mindset that is required to attain each of the phenomena. So therefore, he talks about the renunciation, the bodhicitta, and the wisdom pertaining emptiness. So if you're interested, please check that text and commentary to that text, of course. Okay, so the word bodhisattva, the bodhisattva. The word sattva talks about the mindset. So here we have the word sempa, pa meaning the hero or the mitre. So the mindset of the mitre. We have the word vajrasattva, which means doje sempa. Here we have the word bodhisattva, which means chengchu sempa. Bodhi referring to the word chengchu, the state of transcendent one, the state of the victorious one. So the word bodhi. In Sanskrit, it's called bodhisattva, and in English, it's called bodhisattva and also referred to as the sun. So gelse, gel also sometimes referred to as gelse. This word. So please understand that here only a surface level understanding of the text through the word is being given. If you would like to have more understanding, then I would recommend you, I already know, most of you already know this, but still, let me recommend you the commentaries. So there are commentaries of this text, as well as you can find teaching by His Holiness. So definitely most of you are already watching it. So it's just a very humble and gentle reminder to everyone. If you would prefer understanding the text in a more profound and deep meaning, then please refer to the teachings of His Holiness and other great practitioners. Here we're only going to talk about it in the context of words. So we talk about etymology if it's necessary, more like etymology, but not too in depth about etymology also. But sometimes also when it's required to break down the etymology, we'll do that. Otherwise, it will be introducing word in Tibetan, the same word in Sanskrit, and the same word in English. And then if a little bit of elaboration in the meaning is required, then I will do that. So the word Gelse, Gel refers to the victorious one, the one who is victorious one, the Lord, the victorious. Se meaning the sun. So this is very wonderfully depicted in the text Madhyamika Avatara by Chandrakirti in the first chapter of the first ground, where you see the praise done to the three minds of compassion. So the compassion towards the sentient being, the compassion towards the impermanence, and finally the compassion beyond perception. So three of these compassion. In that particular chapter, we will see that Chandrakirti has specifically talked about the Bodhisattva being the most precious and the most dear to the Buddhas of all time, because they are carrying out the purpose and they're carrying out the mindset of the Buddha. So in that, if you want to understand this perspective of Bodhisattva as the son of the victorious one, please check the first chapter of Madhyamika Avatara. Similarly, more elaboration in the self-commentary, of the Madhyamika Avatara, Chupa Rangjel. So the self-commentary of Chandrakirti on his text, the text Madhyamika Avatara, and then the commentary of Madhyamika Avatara by Lama Tsongkhapa called the Illuminating the Intent. Same, it's the first chapter in which Lama Tsongkhapa elaborates, and not only elaborates, he gives reference from the text. He gives reference from the text of Sutra, the Discourse of Buddha, from the, I think it's the Dasa, I think, so not very sure right now, but I think it's the Dasa Bhumi, the 10 grounds, as well as there is the yes, I think it's from the Dasabhumi, in which Lama Tsongkhapa also provides certain light or certain understanding of this particular understanding of Bodhisattva being the sons of the great victorious ones. So if you are interested, please check those texts also. Very interesting text, and explanations are done very wonderfully there. So if you're interested, you can also go there. So the meaning of the word Bodhisattva, the son of the victorious one, is given in this way. Now the third one. So here's we see Gelong, which means the Bhikshu. Now the term which we are seeing here is Gendun Chenpo. Gendun Chenpo is a particular sangha during the time of Buddha. So they refer to the great community school, the school which is the basis of the Mahayana tradition. So the school that existed after the discourse that was given by Buddha. So one of those great sanghas. So also translated as Mahasamgika in Sanskrit, and also in Hindi it is called Mahasangha. So the translation of Mahasamgika is done in a way that Gelong Gendrin Chenpo, or the Mahasamgika, refers to a school of community of the sanghas during the time of Buddha. It included the bhikshus at that time. It included the arahats. It included the bodhisattvas. So it was a school, a sangha, a very big sangha, which later became, because we know that there are many different. So ever since later on, there are many different schools of Vinaya, which also comes through the sangha. So one of them at early stages were the Mahasamgika, the great community school. So during this discourse, when Buddha was giving this discourse at the Gridakutta Parvata, the Vulture's Peak, the target disciple were the bhikshus of the Mahasamgika, as well as the bodhisattvas of the Mahasamgika school. So to them, Buddha turned the second turning of wheel. So very interesting. Now that I have come to the topic of the turning of wheel. Last time I stated, or I referred the sutra, the Lalita Swara Sutra. So that sutra, the chapter 25th, the turning of the wheel of karma. If you check there, you will see that in that particular sutra, it is said by the gods of the 33 realm and the great Tathagatas that came before them, before Buddha. It was said at that time that this particular turning of wheel is more auspicious than turning of the wheel that was done before, because the turning of the wheel doesn't stop here. There is two more turning of wheel of karma. And so this is the second turning of wheel. The first was done in the Varanasi, the prime disciple being the five excellent disciples of Buddha. And this is the second turning of wheel, which is of the turning of wheel, which is the Pragya Paramita. So the second turning of wheel was done in that place. So this, the principal target disciple of this text is the Mahasamgika, the great community school, the bhikshus of the Mahasamgika and the bodhisattvas of the Mahasamgika school. And Kapchik means together. So it says that residing together with the bodhisattvas of the Mahasamgika school and the bhikshus of the Mahasamgika school, the Bhagavata, which is the Buddha Shakyamuni, at the Vulture's Peak of the king's palace, the Rajgraha, residing there. So this is the meaning of this particular line here. But we go with the second we see that here the Buddha is sitting there, and then he's sitting in a state of a deep and profound meditative absorption on Chugi Namdangi. So he is sitting in the deep and profound meditation absorption on the context of ultimate reality. So we have two truths, right? So when we talk about the teaching of Buddha, we have the two truths. So entire teaching of Buddha is the entire teaching of Buddha can be concluded in the two truths. And to support that notion, you can check the 24th chapter of the Mula Madhyamika. So by Nagarjuna, Mula Madhyamika, 24th chapter, analyzing the Four Noble Truths. There you'll see the verse where Nagarjuna states that all the teaching of Buddha, that Buddha, the great victorious one, has done, he has done in the teaching of the two truths. The one is the truth of ultimate reality. The second is the truth of conventional reality. So the discourse, so the line that follows here, means that Buddha was profoundly, deeply in the meditational absorption on the context of the ultimate reality of the wisdom pertaining emptiness. So here we have two important words. The first one is samo, which in Sanskrit is gambira. Gambir or gambira. In gambir in Hindi, gambira in Sanskrit, which means deep and profound. And then the second word, so whenever, so this is also very much wonderfully explained in the preface of Madhyamika Avatara, where and also in the illuminating the intent by Lama Tsongkhapa, where he talks about the meaning of the word in Tibetan it is Umajupa, in Sanskrit it is Madhyamika Avatara. So what do you mean by Madhyamika? And it says that the difference between the discourse of Buddha, the discourse of Buddha is divided in two. One, the vast teaching, and another, the deep and profound. So the deep and profound is always associated with the teaching of wisdom. The vast is always associated with the teaching of the Abhidharma. So and the paramitas and the grounds, the 10. When the Maitreya talks about the 10 grounds, so the concept of vast is always associated with the concept of dasabhumi. And when we talk about the deep and profound, it's always associated with the context of the Mother Pragya Paramita, which comes in many different variations. In the most shortest variation, it is the most profound sound, the sound that is understood as the origination of all the sound, which is the vowel ah. So once Buddha gave a discourse in which he gave discourse to profound beings, where he recited only the word ah, and all being realized the emptiness through that word or that sound. And then in more elaborate manner is the text that you see here. Then also in 8,000 verse, also in 100,000 verse. So these are the different elaboration. So when we talk about deep, we talk about the Mother Sutra of Pragyaparamita. When we talk about the vast, we talk about the Dasabhumis, the 10 grounds. Okay, so this word, tingezi, which means the Samādhi. Samādhi, which means the meditation, absorption, a single pointed meditation, where the point of focus, where the mind is focused on a single point of meditational absorption. So it's a practice that is used in attaining a superior insight to emptiness. So tingezi, Samādhi. Okay, so these are the words that we will introduce in this class. So these are some of the words that I use to give more to give a much more understanding. So the file will be shared again in our channel of Heruka Institute, where you can check all the files. We will share the video, the class recording. We will share the audio. We will share the PDFs, and we'll share all the other materials regarding that in our channel there. And another thing, the grammar class that we are providing is also available. So the text which are which is the Tree of Excellent Speech. If you want to memorize them and if you want to listen them, it's also available here as well as in the SoundCloud. So you can go at the SoundCloud, and we have the same channel there of both for the grammar class and the Dharma vocabulary class. So please check that. So this is it for today. And if anyone has questions regarding today's lesson, please ask away. Okay, so let me see. Please, could you write the name of the author of what? If I may ask. The author, the name of the author. Okay. Acharya Prashant. So the name is Acharya Prashant. Very interesting. There's just one video. Or otherwise, what I can do is I'll just share the link in the class so you can go and check there. Yes, Acharya Prashant. Now we have another. Gelong is Bhikshu. Yes. You use the same word. You use Bhikshu or do you use Gelong? Is it Gelong or is it Bhikshu that you use in Indonesia? And Tasabhumika Sutra, yes. You're welcome. So please make use of that and try to enrich your understanding, and that would be the best. Thank you ever. Okay, so any questions? Does anyone have any questions regarding today's class?
Tenzin knowledge you.
Lasso.
My question is about first line of Tibetan translation.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dike Dagi Tupa Duchigna.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the question is about words order. Mm-hmm. Because in ordinary speech we say D after the word that it's marked. For example, Loptsen D Nanla. Samgyur Mampo Reshak or Mi D Kuparepe. So I use D after the word that I mark. But here we have reverse order, Dike Dagit, and so on. Why this reverse order of words here?
Yes. Okay, so first I'll just elaborate on the thing that we were talking. Here, D should not be treated as the normal D that we're using, which is the independent particle. No, so it's an independent word as a particle, D, which means this. Here we must understand that D is a unit by itself. So it should not be treated as a separate unit, and then we should not apply the rules of the independent unit, that is D, as a particle, which tells this in many cases. This is the first thing, and the second thing is that yes, you say Lopta D Yakutus, right? Which is this school is good. But now what happens is in that particular context, okay, so let me write this here. Lopta D Yakutus. tuk, which means this school is good. So here we see that D is a pronoun and lopta is a name here. But now if we write this, D nge lopta re. So here we see that in this particular sentence, we have two pronouns, which is D and nge. So in the above sentence, we see that D acts like a pronoun. But in the below sentence, D acts like a particle, but not a pronoun. So when it acts like a particle, what it does is that it tends to be at the beginning of, or it tends to be at the front of whatever it is referring towards. But when we are using it as a pronoun, what happens is that it always comes after, because pronouns can only come after the things that they are referring to. So when we say this school, where this particularly refers to the school. So therefore, D, if it has to act like a pronoun, it must refer to a noun that has been stated prior. So therefore, lopta comes before here. And in the context of D nge lopta de, what happens is this, instead of acting as a pronoun, it acts as a adjective, a demonstrative adjective, more like a definitive adjective, where it shows it is showing just this as a here, rather than this as a pronoun. So therefore, we see that it can come before nge, which is a pronoun. So ting nge lopta de, take her lopta de, ting nge chala de. So when we talk about pronouns, especially in the time of in the case of possessiveness, it doesn't act as pronoun because it doesn't have any reference to which it could act as a pronoun. But in cases like lopta di yakutu, tep di yakutu, tep te yakutu, what we're doing is that we're using di as a pronoun. So in that case, lopta tep could come before di. So that's the difference between these two examples. And when we're talking particularly about the first line, which is dige tagitaba tujina, dige, what happens is that dige acts as a singular unit. So therefore, you cannot apply the rules of the independent D for this unit because it's a companion word. It's no longer a word that is independent. So I hope that this clarifies it.
Thank you.
So this is it for today. So I can only take one question. Very sorry. So if you have any question, you can directly post it in the group. We have the discussion group, or you can directly send it to me. So I think that most of you have my my contact, as well as you can get it from the group. You can directly send it to me. You can email it to me. You can send it to me. You can text it to me. If you want to speak, you can send a voice message to me. So if you have any questions, remember that all questions are most welcome. And please revise. And those who are also joining me for the grammar class, gentle reminder, please start memorizing the text. And I've already shared a voice recording of the text in the grammar group, but I will record it again and send it again in the grammar group on Tuesday. A slow audio and a fast audio of the entire text of the Tree of Excellent Speech. So please listen to it. And so this is it for today. If you have questions, send it to me directly or send it to the group. And I will try to answer it as quick as possible. Sometimes I may not be able to answer it in a week. If that is the case, please understand that in that particular week, I had many things to do, so I wasn't able to answer it. But if I answer it in a day, so I will answer. If I could, I will answer it in a day. If I could, I'll answer just a few moments from this. So make sure you ask the questions. I'll make sure to answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you very much for joining in, and I hope that this class was beneficial. And whatever terms that were taught in the two classes, please revise. And I will see every one of you. So thank you. And see you, every one of you, tomorrow for the grammar class, if you have joined the grammar class. And if not the grammar class, I'll see you on Wednesday for the Thermal vocabulary class. So thank you, Tashidele, and have a wonderful day, evening, or yes, day or evening or noon.